Someone commented on my video, reprinted these pots. So I have a really annoying pest in my orchid collection. Ta-da! Hello everybody and welcome to Plantivalo. Today we are gonna what? Hello everybody and welcome to Plantivalo. Today we are going to repot some orchids that are very thirsty and need a much bigger pot and chat a little bit along the way. So yeah, let's dive right in. I'm gonna remove those orchids or some of those orchids to make space so you can see what I'm doing here. So the orchids are currently mostly in those IKEA glass Tupperware, and unfortunately I cannot find bigger glassware that looks very simple and fits into my collection. So I thought, okay, in the meantime I can 3D print some pots. So I 3D printed these pots, which are bigger than the pots they are currently in, and I'm hoping that will be enough for now, and hopefully I can find some glassware that is not too expensive because I need a lot of them. So I have two epidendrums right here, these two, and they are very thirsty. This is Epidendrum Michael Riley, and I forgot the name of this one, but I will put it on the screen if you're interested. I really love them. They are growing quite fast. They are not that vigorous, but the root system is extremely vigorous and they are so thirsty. So they are in desperate need of a new bigger pot. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So this is basically the last video I have to pre-produce before my vacation, and I'm very happy that I managed to keep up with my schedule. I was very interested to see if I could keep up with my goal, and very pleased to see that it didn't even feel like work. It was just very fun to do, honestly. I had so much fun filming all those videos, and yeah, what I really love also is that the ideas just keep coming. I mean, I have to do all this stuff anyways, like repotting and taking care of my plants. So these videos are a no-brainer, but also the other ideas like plants for highlight, plants for low light, I'm pretty sure that is something that some people are interested in. And I also asked my fiance and my friends for some ideas, and I took those ideas. But yeah, I'm really loving this journey I'm on. I really love how this orchid just popped out of this pot like nothing, and yeah, it's very root bound. I mean, there are a lot of roots, but it's not completely full of roots. But my problem with this pot size is that it just dries out too quickly, and if you know me, you know that I am lazy and I don't want to water all the time. These orchids need to go at least 2 weeks without watering. They definitely need a bigger pot. Oh yeah, and I just pre-soaked some sphagnum moss, which was dried before filming, and I'm just stuffing the empty spaces in this pot with this sphagnum moss. And this morning I was very pleased to see that someone commented on my video, which was, I think, 5 plants for high light conditions, and that made me really happy. I really like responding to comments. It's just a joy if people are reacting to what you are doing, if they are suggesting new plants. This person was also talking about their plants, and that was really interesting. I really love that, and I just wish that people would comment a little bit more on my videos, but I hope people will do that in the future. So if you like Please comment whatever you like. I wish this pot was a little bit bigger because this is just a slight upgrade. For these 3D printed pots I use green translucent filament because I felt it looked very mossy, very organic. The only thing I don't like about them is that they are so shiny, but I hope that will not be a huge problem. And I made them rectangular so I can fit more into my orchid shelf and they can stand next to each other snugly. On to the next one. And what's really great about this is that I am freeing those glass pots which I can reuse for smaller orchids. So this will be a huge repot project for me. This one is a little bit drier, but it also has much more roots. I'm just gonna yank it out. It worked. And I'm gonna show you because there are so many roots. I'm a little bit dumb because I just realized that I intended these epidendrums to go in this pot, which is much bigger. So we're gonna have to redo this. Yeah, that's a bigger upgrade. That makes much more sense. I'm just gonna fast forward because this is the same thing I just did. Ta-da! With these epidendrums I like to pack the sphagnum moss a little bit tighter so there is much more capacity to hold on to moisture because they are not really prone to root rot at all. So I didn't have any issues with that. I hope it will stay that way. And the upgrade is not that big, so it is very snug. I am so excited for vacation, not because I'm super tired or something like that, but we have a construction site right in front of our building and it is going on for the whole summer, and you don't realize how loud a construction site can be because you just adapt and your brain just filters out all this noise. But when you come back home, you realize how loud this is. The whole building is vibrating most of the time, and all these machine noises, it's just so nerve-wracking. It's super annoying, and I just want to relax in a spa hotel without any noises. Yeah, really excited for that. And also I would love to film some plant content. I don't know if there will be interesting things to film, but I will do my best. So hopefully there will be a switch up of content and also the environment I'm filming in. Pretty sure this can be quite interesting. I think that's enough. Ta-da! So I also have these two oncidiums. These are tiny twinkles. This is Oncidium Tiny Twinkle Red Fantasy, and this is Tiny Twinkle Red Fantasy. Yes, I remember, because my fiance gifted me this Tiny Twinkle Red Fantasy first, and it was a switch up from the orchid shop. So it is a white Oncidium Tiny Twinkle with a yellow center, and then they resent us the right one, which is the real Red Fantasy. But this is so fragrant. This is not really fitting into my color pattern, but it's so fragrant and still a very beautiful plant, so I'm not throwing it away. And these oncidiums are also very, 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 very thirsty. They have lots and lots of these fine roots, and they dry out constantly, which they do not like at all. They want to stay more or less moist all the time, and once they dry out for too long, they get this crinkly growth which most oncidiums get once they dry out, and this is just ruining their whole growth and is not beautiful, and yeah, just is not nice for the plant overall. So I'm gonna show you the roots once again and tell you a little bit more about them. So I have a really annoying pest in my orchid collection, and I think they are called bush snails. They are really, really tiny, small, grayish, darkish, brownish snails with a house. And they like to nibble on these new growth points that the roots have, and Of course, they like smaller orchids like oncidiums, which have these finer roots, and this damages and really slows the growth of these orchids and is really, really annoying, and I have no idea how to get rid of them. I tried the hydrogen peroxide method that Miss Orchid Gurl used, but I don't know what I did wrong. The orchids did not like that at all. I didn't soak them for very long. It was a very short period, and yeah, the roots just died off, so that was not very successful. So I'm very hesitant to try this again, and I think she used 3% hydrogen peroxide. I'm not sure. I will check and write it on the screen. And it's really difficult to give an exact percentage with hydrogen peroxide because it loses its power over time. Over time, with light and also heat exposure, it reacts to water and oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide is not a very stable compound, and that's why it is used for what it is used, because yeah, the snails just get killed by oxidative stress. I am pretty sure that, or this is just an assumption, that the hydrogen peroxide that she used, which was labeled as 3%, lost some of its power over time, probably already on the shelf. And because she also mentioned that she is from a very hot climate, so that makes perfect sense that the hydrogen peroxide is not that strong anymore. Hydrogen peroxide is always stabilized, or oftentimes stabilized, with I think phosphoric acid to slow down this degradation process, but it is still happening nonetheless. I didn't use it after that. Maybe I have to try it again because these snails are really annoying. I use these blue snail pellets which have an iron compound in them. I forgot what kind, but it is not toxic to humans or animals or insects. That keeps them a little bit at bay, but it's not really getting rid of all of them, so it's still very, very annoying. So first oncidium done. So I'm just getting my fingers in there just to loosen up the root ball and getting it a little bit loose from the glass. And then I'm just trying to pull. Ta-da! And I just realized I need more sphagnum moss. Back with more rehydrated sphagnum moss. Da-da-da-wow-now. I just filmed a video about all my blue Phalaenopsis orchids, and they are sold in Japan, and we are visiting Japan, so I'm very excited to see if I will be able to find this Phalaenopsis blue gene that was genetically modified to appear more blue, although people are saying that it is more purple. I don't know if this video is already up that I filmed, because I haven't decided on the order of the videos that are pre-produced. If it is already up, link is in the description. And unfortunately I won't be able to buy it because genetically modified organisms are prohibited in the EU. So I will most certainly not get a phytosanitary certificate for this, because you probably have to state what kind of plant this is, and I'm not the lying type, so yeah, pretty sure that this is impossible to bring home, but I can still manifest to see it at least in person. That would be really great, because I would like to tell you guys if it is really that purple like people say, because in some pictures they do look quite blue. I know you can do a lot of color grading and yeah, change the color of flowers in post-production, but this is a little bit high, but yeah, I hope that's okay. Pictures and videos can be very deceiving, so I would like to see it in person. So second oncidium done. Put it a little bit high, but I hope this is okay. 2 oncidiums down. No, I don't like it. It's too far up. It doesn't look right. It just, no. I'm so sorry. Yeah, much better. Sometimes I get really confused when I'm filming and then my brain can't focus on anything else. I have to focus either on doing the repot or talking, because sometimes talking and thinking at the same time is already using up so much of my brain power, and that is actually one of the reasons I'm doing those videos, to improve this skill of thinking and talking at the same time, because when I look back at my first videos, this was just horrible. It was just not working at all. Every second word of mine was an A or an M, because my brain was just not keeping up. Right now I'm still struggling with those repot videos, because either I'm not talking at all because I'm busy with stuffing sphagnum moss in the pots, or I am talking and doing weird stuff that you just saw, which doesn't look right. But mistakes happen and you can adjust to them and correct them or learn from them. So that's what we are doing here. Yeah, now we're talking. Much better. Now I have to repot this Dendrobium baby hibiki. This was also featured in my video 5 plants for dark corners. Link is in the description below. And I really love this plant, but it is also very thirsty. Also, the bush snails like to nibble on this one, which is really annoying, but yeah, it is coping quite okay. So fingers in again. I would love to not break the flowers. Ooh, that was really easy. Very satisfying. Ooh. Now that is a nice root system. And I'm making mess on the floor, which I have to put away later. Tidy up the kitchen after some filming. Yeah. All for the video. So this will also be treated to a newer pot. And the weather is just making me crazy. This summer in Germany is insane. I have never experienced anything like this. It just goes from well over 30 degrees back to 20 and then back up again. And then we are back at 20 again and then again over 30 degrees Celsius. It's just insane. I mean, I'm not complaining. I love the cooler days we have because it just gives you a break and you can just breathe again. But this up and down is just so annoying and so tiring. We were jogging yesterday and it was just so humid and I barely made it to the end. Asia is not the best destination for cooler weather, but yeah, we don't have to do anything there. We can just relax, do some sightseeing. We are also visiting Korea and the weather was very hot in Korea, but it is much drier, or at least it was when we visited last year. Japan was horrible because it was very humid and very hot, but manageable because they have ACs everywhere, and that is a very nice refreshment. Ta-da! So the last orchid I want to repot in this video is this Phalaenopsis charming crystal water. I already did a plant observed video about this orchid because this is probably the most vigorous Phalaenopsis I own. As you can see, the root growth is out of this world. Link is in the description below. And just a few minutes ago I thought, okay, this is just the same glass pot as this one. This will fit in here, but obviously this will not fit. But I have a much bigger pot which will fit just nicely, and this was intended for another epidendrum which is much bigger. But yeah, this Phalaenopsis is in desperate need of this pot, and I just realized I have to print more of these much bigger ones. So yeah, let's just use that. It's much bigger. I hope I can get this out of here without breaking too many roots. Oh, smooth. So I think I will put all of these roots in here. The breaking sound is just not good to hear, but I'm pretty sure this orchid will be fine because it puts out tons and tons of roots all the time. And if I break some this will hopefully be okay. So, and now I'm just filling up the gaps in between, and I will do that just a little bit more loosely compared to the other orchids, because this is a Phalaenopsis after all. I haven't had any issues with root rot with this particular orchid, but I just know that Phalaenopsis in general do not like their roots to stay wet all the time, so I'm a little bit careful here not to overfill with sphagnum moss. If it's not enough, you can add always more later, but removing is much more difficult, so keep that in mind when you are repotting your orchids. It's really difficult to get in all those nooks and crannies, and I'm pretty sure that some air pockets also won't hurt. This is just so crazy because this orchid just loses some of its older leaves and just keeps some of them. I don't know if this is the case because it dries out sometimes for me, but yeah, the root system is just much bigger right now compared to the top of the plant, and it looks a little silly, I have to say, but I'm not complaining because the flowers are just beautiful. I always wanted a clear white Phalaenopsis, and this is the whitest Phalaenopsis I have seen. It has pyloric flowers which are very symmetrical and they are very huge. The flower stalks are very large and beautiful, and they are just getting larger over year. So pretty excited to see how it blooms this year. Only issue I have with this Phalaenopsis is that it just blooms once a year. I don't want to say I'm not a big fan of those orchids because they just conserve all their energy and put out a big show once a year, but I think I prefer those Phalaenopsis that sprinkle some flowers all over the year. And yeah, because you then just have flowers year round. But yeah, I'm not complaining. I still love this Phalaenopsis very much. And we are done. So that was it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. I have to continue repotting my other orchids in another video because this is already too long. And I have so many more orchids that I have to repot. And if you like this video, stay tuned. See you in the next video. Bye!